Okay, here we are. Good morning once again. Thanks to those of you joining us live. Thanks to those of you on replay. Spring is here in the Northeast. I'm so happy. I think if you're new to traditional Chinese medicine, it's easiest to understand the wood element, which represents spring. If you look outside, you'll see green growing things. You see the trees reaching up towards the sun and starting to unfurl their leaves and opening their flowers. The sap is running up the trees. The long dormant winter is over. This is the element of spring. And what are the qualities of a sapling tree? When you think about a young tree, a sapling tree, what are the qualities, the characteristics in that tree? Right? They can bend. They're growing, right? If you peeled off a little bit of their bark, you'd feel aliveness. It's juicy. It's green. Right? It's precious. You can just feel the aliveness in a spring forest. Now, if you're in the southern hemisphere, opposite for you, right? But for many of us, we're up in the northern hemisphere, and the further up you are in the north, the more you'll experience the contrast. When we would lead retreats in Costa Rica, I was always amazed at how the days are of equal length, you know? 6 a.m., 6 p.m., that's it. The closer you are to the equator, the less you have day variations. For us up here in New York State, in the country, the days get longer and longer until, right, in the middle of the summer, it'll still be a little bit light at 10 p.m. Maybe it's light at 4 a.m. And that's about as far as it goes. And then if you go even further, the days get longer and the winter nights get longer. So I like where we are, the balance. Enough of a variation that we really notice the seasons. So you can always turn to the cycle of the seasons as a way of understanding the cycle of anything in our life. Our overall arc of our life has this cycle, as well as any given day has this cycle. Every relationship has this cycle. It's present everywhere. And so much of what we teach about in our Qigong coursework, in our traditional Chinese medicine coursework, relates to the natural cycles that was being observed. A long time ago, the doctors and the scientists didn't have scientific tools. It was taboo to even open up a body to seek to understand what's going on with disease or illness. And so they had to infer their understanding of these relationships in other ways. And what's the most obvious way, especially for back in those days, people didn't have plugs, right? No outlets for most of humanity. And so what did they observe? They observed the cycles of nature. They observed how the animals move. They observed the sun rising and setting, or so they thought. They observed the changing of the constellations. All of these were clues as to the functioning of nature. And they realized that our bodies are the same, that we are part of this world. We are not separate. We are not different from this natural world. And so we can learn a lot through the study of nature or through studying those who studied nature. So as we move through our practice today, today's class is called Ground. It's class 1 for those of you beginning and new in our spring immersion. And you can bring to mind that element of spring energy. This isn't specifically a liver class, and yet it's everywhere. Basically every class we do some spring energy. And the arc of a class even can go through those cycles, beginning with spring, with that waking and shaking and stretching, and ending in winter's quiet towards the end of a class. So if you start to look at everything through the lens of this cycle, of this circle of life, then you'll start to get a felt sense of this approach to health, this approach to balance, this approach to medicine, this approach to life.